Hello everyone, we're going to start with conference number 20, the psychological country. The purpose of this conference is that we recognize that as well as it exists the external world that we can explore with our physical body, it also exists the inner world that we can explore using our inner senses of the self-observation, of our imagination, of our thoughts, feelings, and the psychological country is full with our psychic energy. We can give our psychic energy to the negative elements of the bottled up conscience that we have within ourselves, that is the 97% of trap essence in our ego, or we can give it to the 3% of awakened conscious that is justice, wisdom, and love. So other objectives are to learn to live the instant. If we are not thinking about the future, projecting, planning, having ideas and thoughts for what we are going to do next, we are going to be living the moment, as well as if we are thinking about the past, well, we are denying the power of the instant to focus ourselves in awakening our conscience and in the intuition, the faculty of our intuition, be listening to our conscience or the voice of our inner father and inner mother that are the power of wisdom and love within ourselves. So also we gotta stop believing that we are good, because if we think we are perfect, we are not gonna recognize our inner darkness, and we are not going to be able to awaken the faculty of the self-observation. That faculty and that power allows us to make radical changes, stopping to give our energy to that negative emotions, thoughts, low instincts, and vibrate in a superior way according to the power of our conscience, to change the center of gravity to return to the absolute. If we are revolving around the things of the personality, the superficial aspect of us, always thinking about the material things or things that are going to pass away with time, like pride, recognition, social status, well, we are not going to revolve around the transcendental part that is our conscience, and we are not going to be able to awaken in order to listen to the faculty of love that is going to make us see the superior dimensions of this world. So, what is the psychological country? Just as the external country in which we live exists, in our inner world we find the psychological country. So, as well as it exists the external people that we know, our friends, our family, people at work, people that we don't know, and we associate with them according to our psychological characteristics. Some we like, some we dislike. It also exists in our inner world, our inner companions that will take us to different regions of our psyche according to their psychological characteristics. For instance, if we have the ego of being drunk, being alcoholic, we will end up in the pub. That psychological element is always gonna take us there, as well as if we have egos that are promiscuous, they will take us to the brothel. And if we think we are saint, we are perfect, we have eliminated our ego, we think we are um, like really holy people, we will go to the temples in which people pretend that are free from their sins. They are different companions. We have the ego of anger that will take us to the alleyways of anger and vice in which people are destroying themselves. They are fighting against each other, insulting, well, taking revenge. So, just as in the physical world we can find destruction, desolation, in our inner world there are regions in which we can find that too. Our need for revenge, for violence, for getting even, for just destroying people that we dislike. We also find our inner world that is the peaceful place in which we feel really a lot of tranquility. We are in peace, we find harmony, we focus with our inner wisdom, with the power of love, of liberating ourselves from all negative elements, well, forgiving, letting go the past, that we can find in our psychological world as well. We just have to discover it with the power of the self-observation. In which place are we located at any given moment? Being able to return to our peaceful place in the moments in which the external circumstances trigger the worst of us. So within our psychological country, each one of us has certain companions that will take us to where they must. As I was saying, the different seven causal egos that want us to lose our power to focus in the instant, to hear the voice of the intuition, the voice of our being, to listen to the words of wisdom, of just maintaining calm, of focusing in our heart, of living the present. So the ego of lust will always want us to give our energy to all the appearances, the vanity, the fascination for the physical aspect of different people, adulterating, desiring people that are not our couple, uh, well, just fascinating with the concepts of beauty that we have created with our mind. The ego of a slut will want us to feed on the energy that we have, always sleeping, always to want to resign with doing nothing, with just sitting there, with just being vegetating instead of profiting time for something really conscious. The ego of greed will want us to keep feeding on the energy that we have of producing material uh, profit just for feeding the superficial aspect, for wanting more and more, accumulating more richness, more wealth, more material things that will want us to fall in the illusion that we can buy happiness. The ego of pride will want us to feed that emotion that we have of putting all our energy in the titles, the degrees, the social recognition, the diplomas, and thinking that is the center of our existence. The ego of anger will want us to feel that we are powerful, we are strong, that we won't let us hurt by anyone, that we will hurt people instead of being hurt. So we're gonna talk about the appearances. A honorable man of blameless honesty could be located within the psychological region in a den of thieves. Not everything is what it seems. Even though we think we're really a blameless people, we are the perfect citizens, the perfect member of family, the perfect uh, colleague, the perfect citizen. Well, we have darkness within ourselves. In any given moment in which we have a bad circumstance, we are going through a difficult event of our life, the worst part of us can come out. For instance, what has happened in your inner world when you are kicked out of job? For instance, it probably is going to appear anger, frustration, revenge, For example, an ego that wants to insult his boss, an ego that wants to fight with him, an ego that wants to cry, to feel bad, to self-consider. Mm, Other ego that is thinking that he's going to end up in the streets begging. So a lot of things happen in our inner world, and we go to different psychological regions. The ego of begging goes to the psychological region in which you are going to be in the streets asking for money. The ego of violence goes to the psychological region in which he's fighting with, with the boss. The ego of revenge goes to the psychological region in which he is doing something to calumny the boss. What happens with the psychological country when we die? After death, each one of our egos return to their psychological country to keep feeding themselves. So we think that in the afterlife we are going to be perfect, we are going to go to heaven, we are going to receive an award for everything that we have done good and perfect about ourselves. But it doesn't happen that way if we don't eliminate our ego. If we have anger, that energy that we have fed our entire life is going to come back to that psychological place in which it's going to mechanically give the energy, the motor energy, the instinctive energy to the ego that wants to fight, to insult, to yell, to hurt other people, and so on with the different psychological flows that we have in our inner world, because they are energy that has been trapped mechanically in our entire existence, and that energy, by the force of recurrence, is going to go there to the psychological colony or the infernal world to keep feeding itself until it bursts. That happens in the second death, when we lose our human physical body and we go to the involution. The egos are going to be feeding themselves until they burst, and the essence is cleansed by the force of mechanicity through pleasure and pain. So the psychological country must be corresponding to the physical country. We must be living the instant, not thinking about the future or the past, just experiencing directly the present, discovering the different superior emotions of the conscience, the superior emotion of the intuition of hearing the voice of our inner father and inner mother, the wisdom and love of our conscience, and just experiencing directly nature, just living the present, practicing the ongoing death, help us to come out of our psychological world, that psychological country in which our psychic energy is trapped, just returning to the moment and fully experiencing the present. If we practice begging our Divine Mother, we are going to be able to live the present without distractions, experience the power of the concentration, have the conscience center in the action that we are living. For instance, if we are in that moment and we are feeling remorse for something that we did in the past, that we hurt someone, so we are going to beg our Divine Mother, Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego of remorse that is uh, regretting what I did in the past, that I insulted my couple, for instance. So Divine Mother, eliminate me that thought, that negative emotion, and I'm going to come back to the present and experience the instant directly. Be focused in that moment, in inner silence. That practice of the ongoing death will make us develop the power of the concentration, of being able to experience fully conscious the superior dimensions in the instant. So, to change the magnetic center of gravity, what does that mean? If I have the magnetic center of gravity around my personality, I am revolving around superficial things that have no matter. For instance, if I am thinking all the time of you going to the beauty shop, purchasing more different accessories, uh, lipsticks, makeup, nails, uh, changing the color of my hair, different superficial aspects of me that don't lead me anywhere transcendental. I'm going to explore those egos of vanity, and I'm going to make the magnetic center of gravity revolve around the practices of awakening the conscience. For instance, if I spent like 4 hours of my day um, just focusing on my external appearances, dyeing my hair, combing my hair, putting makeup, putting accessories on my physical body, changing my clothes, purchasing accessories, well, I'm going to take that time and do something more profitable for my conscience with it. I'm going to explore the ego of vanity that wants to give the whole time of my existence, the different precious instants that I have to those superficial things, and I'm going to transfer that time to do something more profitable with it. For example, having the energy, having the right mood to practice the astral projection, to meditate, to do something that is profitable for my conscience, for developing my connection, my spiritual connection with my inner wisdom. Well, just exploring the different superior dimensions of nature that we already know. We can explore the fifth dimension with the power of the astral projection. We can explore the sixth and seventh dimension with the power of the meditation, koanis meditation, or the reflexive meditation. There are different types of practices that are going to make our connection with our inner wisdom, the wisdom of our being, stronger with each time that we practice. But if we don't have an inner discipline of establish a routine in which we profit our time in order to make our essence grow, well, we are not going to be able to connect to something transcendental in our life. We're going to keep revolving around things that are sooner or later gonna pass away and gonna let us completely empty. While our magnetic center of gravity keeps established around our personality, it can't be transferred to our essence. So we're only gonna awaken our conscience if we gravitate around what is useful, truthful, and fair within ourselves. If we discover what our being wants with us, if we keep all the time by the force of equality and mechanicity feeding with our energy those bad companions that we have within ourselves that will take us to the psychological dark places in our inner world, we are not going to get to self-fulfill our being. So that is what it is certain that we free ourselves from the bad companions we carry within and come out of that false personality. The false personality will want us to do what everyone does, what everyone is used to do, according to the different forces of ego that we carry in our psyche. and we need to break that connection that we have with that darkness inside ourselves in order, well, just to establish the routine of working towards self-fulfillment. And the essence will retrace its steps back to the force of love, that is our inner mother, and the force of wisdom, our inner father, in order that we can come back to the world of the spirit. Mm, our essence came from the world of spirit, and that is the world of light, the luminic part that we carry within ourselves. But we can only connect with that portion of light that we have within ourselves if we are willing to eliminate darkness within our psychological world. So, well, this was the conference. I hope it's really useful for you to study your psychological country and come out of those dark places in order to learn to live the instant and work on the different practices in order to establish a routine that develops your spiritual connection with your being. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you have a good night. Bye.